By the rules of evolution, your grandmother should not exist. Think about what evolution actually rewards. Have more babies, pass on more genes. Almost every animal that has ever lived follows that one rule, right up until the day it dies. A female mouse, a female lion, a female chimp, they stay able to have babies for their whole lives. There is no retirement, there is no after. And then there's us. A human woman stops being able to have children around 50, but she doesn't stop living. She often keeps going for another 30, even 40 years, healthy, active, awake. That is bizarre. By the cold math of survival, a body that can't reproduce is a body evolution should be done with. So why do humans come with decades of life built in after the babies stop? Why do we have grandmothers at all? The answer is one of the strangest things evolution ever did, and it might be the reason you're here to ask the question. Let's be clear about how weird this really is. Every other part of you was shaped to help you reproduce. Your hunger, your fear, your love, all of it points toward making and protecting babies. Evolution is ruthless about this. If a trait doesn't help copy your genes, it tends to vanish. So menopause looks like a glitch. It switches off baby making, while there's still a third of a life left to live. That should be a disaster for your genes. The woman who kept having children should have outbred the one who stopped. Stopping early should have been deleted from the human story long ago. But it wasn't, it's everywhere. Every culture, every corner of the planet, women live long past their last child. This isn't a side effect of modern medicine, either, and that's a clue we'll come back to. Here's the strangest part. Menopause is almost unheard of in the animal kingdom. Outside of humans, only a few species of whale do anything like it. That's it. Whatever explains the human grandmother has to explain something nature almost never builds. And the answer isn't hiding in her body, it's hiding in her grandchildren. To see it, you have to go back. Picture a band of early humans in Africa, hundreds of thousands of years ago. The world has been changing. The easy foods are getting scarcer. More and more of what keeps the group alive is buried, deep roots and tubers, hidden under hard ground. To get them, you need strength, patience, and skill. You have to know where to dig, and you have to dig hard. Now look at a small child in that band. She can toddle around and pick a few berries off a bush, but she cannot pull a heavy tuber out of packed earth. She simply isn't strong enough. She depends completely on an adult who can. Normally, that adult is her mother. But watch what happens when a new baby arrives. The mother is suddenly busy, nursing, carrying, exhausted. She can't dig enough for a newborn and the older child at the same time. In that gap, that dangerous gap, the older child is in real trouble. And this is where one person steps in, not the mother, her mother. Here's the idea that cracked the whole mystery open. An older woman past her own childbearing years is still strong, still wise, still a brilliant forager. She has nowhere else to put that energy, no babies of her own to feed. So she points it all at her grandchildren. She digs the tubers the little ones can't. She feeds the older child while the mother handles the newborn. This is the grandmother hypothesis, developed by anthropologist Kristen Hawkes at the University of Utah. And it isn't just a nice story, she has the field data. Hawkes spent years with the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer people in Tanzania. She measured how well the children were growing, and she found something remarkable. A child's health tracked how hard its mother worked, until a new baby came along. The moment the mother was tied up, the older child's well-being started tracking someone else's effort instead. The grandmothers. It was the hard-working grandmothers, digging those deep tubers, who kept the older grandchildren thriving. Now here's the cold logic that makes it evolution. A woman in her 50s having another baby is risky and slow, but by stopping and feeding her grandchildren instead, she helps more of her genes survive than she ever could by trying for one more child. So natural selection did something it almost never does. It favored the women who lived long, stopped early, and helped. This sounds like a tidy theory, so let me show you the proof swimming in the ocean. Killer whales are one of the only other animals that go through menopause. And in 2019, scientists found that orca grandmothers who had stopped reproducing measurably boosted their grandcalves' survival, especially in the hard years when salmon ran low. A grandmother effect written into the sea, the same ancient deal, made by a completely different animal. Once you see this, your own family suddenly makes a different kind of sense. Think about the grandmother who cannot stop feeding you, who piles your plate high, who's offended if you don't eat, who measures love in second helpings. That isn't just a quirk. That is a 100,000-year-old instinct, still firing the deep, wired urge to put food in a grandchild's hands. Think about why grandparents carry the stories, the recipes, the warnings, the names of things. For almost all of human history, there were no books. There was no one to look anything up. The longest living member of the group was the library. A grandmother was a walking record of every drought, every plant, every danger the family had survived. She knew which berry healed and which one killed. Her years weren't decline. They were data, the most valuable thing the band owned. It even explains the easy, instant bond. The way a grandchild and a grandparent often just click, sometimes more gently than parent and child ever do. You are looking at two ends of a chain that evolution spent a very long time welding together. The families where those two loved each other are the families that survived. The ones where they didn't, mostly, did not. And think about the restlessness of an older woman whose own children have grown and gone. That itch to be useful, to have someone to look after, we treat it as sweet or sad. It may be one of the most powerful forces our species ever ran on. And it reframes the whole idea of growing older. We treat the years after 50 like a fading. But in the deepest human sense, that long life was never an accident or a leftover. It was the prize. It was the whole point. Here's something to try tonight. Next time an older woman in your life does one of her small, fussing, feeding kindnesses, pressing food on you, checking you're warm, don't brush past it. Notice it. You are watching the exact instinct that may have built the human lifespan, still running its ancient program on you. So your grandmother is not a sweet little footnote to the human story. She may be the reason there's a story at all. Somewhere back along your line, in a dry and difficult world, an older woman bent over the hard ground. She dug up food for a child who wasn't hers to feed. And by doing it, she kept your whole family alive, long enough eventually to reach you. Every grandmother since has carried a piece of that same quiet, stubborn love. We thought the puzzle was why she keeps living after the babies stop, but that was the wrong way to see it. She doesn't live after the work is done. Caring for the next ones, that was the work all along. That was always the job evolution kept her here to do. So the next time those weathered hands push one more plate of food toward you, take it. Eat. Somewhere in that gesture is the oldest gift our species ever invented, handed down, root by root, all the way to you.